So then is that fair to say that the Supreme Court is the most powerful body in all of Brazil? Like they run the show?
Yes. Yes. He has the power of the pen. Prison. As we have, for example, a congressman while being a congressman. He made an offensive comment to the Supreme Federal Court. I agree. But it is in our Constitution that the deputy, he is untouchable, right? He is unreachable by any of your words, opinions, or votes. But even so, while serving as a federal deputy, he was sentenced to almost 9 years in prison. He is still in jail today. I granted the amnesty to this congressman, the pardon, similar to the seasonal ones, as Trump has done here to the people from the Capitol. Among other things, I granted amnesty. While I was president, it was valid. When I left presidency, the Supreme Federal Court overturned that amnesty. In other words, it's a Supreme Court that is above good and evil.
Okay, so then if we look at that, then here's what I'm trying to find out is how are you planning on going against the Supreme Court? Because this is the numbers we pulled up. Just a few minutes ago, this morning, I'm looking at the Supreme Court to see what the age is. In Brazil, at 75, it's almost a forced retirement in Brazil if you're a Supreme Court justice. So here's the names that I have. Luis Roberto Barroso, he was appointed by Dilma, he's on the left. Edson Fachin is 67 years old, Luis is 66 years old, so they both have 10 more years left roughly. Edson is by Dilma, left. Carmen Lucia, 70 years old, Lula, left. Cristiano Zanin, 49 years old, center conservative, but appointed by Lula. Guilherme Mendes, 69 years old, and appointed by President Cardoso, left. Casio Nunes Marquez, appointed by you, 52 years old. Andre Mendonça, your side, 52 years old, young. He's got 23 more years left. Alexandre de Moraes, 56 years old, from the left, Temer. Dias Toffoli, 57 years old, left. Luis Fux, 71 years old, Dilma, left. Flavio Dino, just recently, he was a former communist and he came out of the Communist Party to join the Socialist Party. He confessed to being a communist. He's on the left and he's only 56 years old. They're going to be around for a long time for it to flip the other way. What's your strategy and maybe the Conservative Party's strategy to fight against these guys?
What some people say, I have no doubt that if I become eligible, I am president, right? An alternative someone might have, it needs to be discussed. It's the increase of the number of ministers. We are not going to hunt anyone, unless obviously that with a strong Senate, due to some failure, this process exists. From my side, there's no intention to pursue any minister or go after any minister. I fight here for a strong Senate that's independent, to be able to show everyone else in Brazil that regarding what concerns them and what is in the Constitution, if they make a mistake, they will face a lawsuit there. So much so that, what have I been saying? On some TVs, radio, and my travels around Brazil, give me 50% of the representatives and 50% of the senators in 2026. So I'll change Brazil. There's no way you can change. Nobody wants to change through acts of violence, as I was accused. Even without any violence, nothing concrete against me. They accuse me. I wanted to stage a coup in 2022 and 2023. The capital there, January 8th here, are coupists. That doesn't make sense. And so this is how it is. Now, even so, a poll just came out on the 18th of this month. It's from February, where I am 5 points ahead of Lula. And more people were tested with Lula for the second round. Just one other person nowadays would win against Lula, and she's my wife. She does not have a political role in Brazil. She is a discreet person, Christian, who took on the role of the female liberal party, and she travels around Brazil talking to women. So she has this potential because of her ability to express herself. Given the surname, obviously, that helps. At the moment, She could beat Lula too. They can even make me ineligible. But I have other tricks up my sleeve that will appear as time goes on for us to reach the presidency of the Republic. I'm sure this has everything it takes to succeed, especially because, unfortunately, through the suffering of the people, since the Brazilian economy is becoming a disaster, they will not vote for the left or the Workers' Party anymore.
Yeah. So to me, I think for you have a bigger challenge to overcome than in the States, because in the States, again, President Trump had Supreme Court because he flipped 3 seats, which was very big, never had been done in the history of America. That was a very, very big deal. And the only reason I'm sharing this with you is for case study. Like, what's happening with him, it's happening with you to see the case study. In-house in America, House of Representative Congress, we have 435. You guys have 513. We have 100 Senate seats. You have 81. The House here, based on the folks I'm talking to the last couple of days while we're in Brazil, roughly 110 to 130 in House are on your side. 110 to 130 are on your side. On the Senate side, it's only 22. So if you only have 22 Senate out of 81, it's roughly a quarter. If you only have 110 on Second Amendment, 130 on maybe other conservative issues out of 513. So Supreme Court is 2 out of 11. Senate is 22 out of 81. House is, let's say, 130 out of 513. Like, with everything being against you, Senate, House, and Supreme Court, how do you, in a situation like this, the strategy has to be maybe a different kind of a strategy to be able to win. And the reason why I'm asking this question is, in America, you said we have 2 political parties, right, Mr. President? Here we have 3, but it's really 2 political parties. You have a lot more. Is it going to require you to try to find a way to get along with some of the other parties to want to support you in 2026? What would be some of the ways you would go around this challenge?
Firstly, the doctors who operated on me in 2018 didn't believe I would survive. Also, the parliamentarians. During the campaign, no one believed that I could be elected as president in 2018. I spent less than $1 million. I repeat, $1 million.
That's unbelievable.
The price of a house in Florida, approximately. And we did, and I did something that no one expected I would do. I chose my ministers. I chose the state-owned CEOs. The bank directors were not political appointees. So thanks to that, we managed to outperform in the economy. The economy is what keeps or brings down a president. I stayed alive. We faced the issue of COVID there. I dare say I haven't missed a single one of my observations about COVID. Maybe I was the only head of state in the world who didn't take the vaccine. And also another problem that affected the whole world was the Russia and Ukraine war. Our mandate ended in 2022 with a surplus in budgetary matters. So these are true miracles. The presidency, because I invited the right people and they accepted. Today the people miss my ministers, and they don't know the ministers of the current government because they have no qualifications whatsoever. On the contrary, what they follow is an agenda. So that was a big challenge back then. My life and the election. Today we have a lot of problems ahead. Why? The opposition to me from the judiciary and a large part of the media as well. I ended the harmony where everyone here got along and cooperated. I put Brazil on the right track. Take the port of Santos, for example. I inherited with an annual debt of 500 million reais. That's roughly 80 million US dollars. And I handed over with $80 million in losses. And all the state-owned companies, when you take the Santos harbor, the difference is 1 billion reais. That's roughly $140 million. Somebody who used to take this money stopped liking me, started to hit me, to attack me, to persecute me, to slander, to make fake news. We overcame all those obstacles. The most important force that exists in Brazil, It's not the parliament, the presidency, or the Supreme Federal Court. I understand. That is the popular force. I'll go back now. I finished last year. I traveled to almost 200 cities in Brazil, and my reception was fantastic. As I said, unfortunately, the people are suffering due to economic mistakes, for misappropriation of resources by Lula. More and more, sections of the population that were against me are coming back to be on my side. Then the great strength I'll have, it will be the people. So I insist, what can I expect from the world like Trump's? I hope, I say it again, that he only recognizes elections that had a safe criteria, were auditable, and where the opposition, in my case, don't leave it aside, don't ignore it, through political processes, as I am suffering at the moment in Brazil.
Brazil, I'm so glad you're watching this. I want to tell you something here. Do you know what's the one thing tyrants or criminals in politics, in your government, you know what's the one thing they hate? Is for the people to have hope. It's been said, man and women can live 40 days without food, 4 days without water, 4 minutes without air, but only 4 seconds without hope. When I was in Brazil, we had dinner with Nicolas Ferreira. And while we're having dinner, we gave him a shirt and we took a picture together. It's called Future Looks Bright with Brazilian flag. I would love nothing more than to see thousands and thousands of people in Brazil to wear a shirt that says Future Looks Bright with your flag. Just for Brazil, we made these custom shirts for you. If you want to inject the spirit of hope in Brazil, go place 1 order, 2, 3, buy it for your peers, your family. Click on a link below or go to vtmerch.com and sport your Future Looks Bright shirt in Brazil. Let the dictators, let the tyrants get so angry the fact that you are optimistic about the future. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.